The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-host and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on our live shows.
Broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of This Week in Guns is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. PatriotPatch.co.
Welcome to This Week in Guns. This show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network and Patriot Patch Company.
And this show offers commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Sean Heron, and it is my pleasure to introduce our panelists tonight. Returning is the host of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review podcast and owner lead instructor at Contextual Defense and Consulting, Zane Mungillo. Welcome back.
Hey, it's good to be back, Sean.
Another returning regular these days is the host of the Off-Road Podcast and shipper of freedom at Rainier Arms, Ben Allreed. Welcome back, buddy.
How's it going, man?
Good. And returning from just a few months, a hiatus, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. He's a hunter, firearms enthusiast, and listener of the show. Previously appeared back in November on our listener appreciation episode. Ryan Barker, welcome back.
Thanks, Sean, for having me.
Absolutely, man. And before we get started, I'm going to talk about our advertisers, Manticore Arms and Patriot Patch Company. So Patriot Patch Company, I don't know if you guys have seen their Patch of the Month Club for this upcoming month, April. It's a rabbit in a tank, and the tank is shooting Easter eggs out of the gun, which I think that's pretty awesome. You guys?
That's pretty cool.
I'm stoked to stick it on my headliner.
Absolutely. Love the Patch of the Month Club. If you do nothing else, go check that out. But they've also got all kinds of other great patches, t-shirts, cleaning mats, and other kind of two-way stuff. Lifestyle stuff, really. Not beard oil or anything like that, but really cool stuff that you can, the patches, they go on backpacks, patch walls, headliners in cars, anything you can possibly imagine, beards. And on this show, definitely a lot of that going on. So check them out, patriotpatch.co. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Manticore Arms. Our good friends Sven and Kristen and the gang over there doing really, really fantastic work. And I got to say, if you haven't checked them out, if you have an AR-15, definitely go see what they have to offer. They've got great AR parts, AKs, Tavor, let's see, so many others. Bren, the Scorpion Evo. They've got parts that make all of them better. And the transformer rail is one of my favorite things. And if you don't want a new rail for your AR, check out their muzzle devices. I use the Eclipse, and it's amazing. My ARs stay exactly the way they are. It really eliminates the recoil and helps me get follow-on shots on really quick. Just shot a class with one. So coupon code TWG10 at manticorearms.com. And guys, let's get into the show. The ATF NFA branch gets a budget for 25 more agents. So in my opinion, that's a pretty great thing. Those times are already coming down. And if you look at the NFA tracker, we can see that things have gotten better already. Adding more agents to this, I think, is a great thing. Thoughts?
It's definitely a good thing, that's for sure. At least if you're looking at processing times for, your Form 1s and 3s and all that.
Yeah, I agree. And I
mean,
mean,
we just get rid of NFA and it won't be an issue.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. That would be a fantastic thing as well. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it coming down even more. I think if we could get it to like 60 days, it would be fantastic. Even less would be perfect. But, even down to just like 60 days, it takes away a huge impediment, I think, to people buying NFA items.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, this shouldn't have to be done at the ATF. I mean, any gun dealer can run this background check. It shouldn't even be a need for it, but at least the wait time's going to come down.
Yeah. Completely agree. So good news there. And look, yeah, perfect world. I want the NFA to go. I want it to be gone, and I want us to be able to get suppressors at Walmart. But that's not the real world right now. So in the meantime, I'll take some decreased wait times.
Of course, the last article I read about this was from a lefter-leaning site, and it was Trump pushing to make machine guns easier to get or something. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
That's so nice.
I need $10 on pump one, and I'll take a 5.56 silencer.
Exactly. In my opinion, that's how it should be. And if that is the case, they'll be like almost disposable. You'll be able to buy them for like $10. That'll last, an afternoon maybe, and then you throw it away and buy one the next time you go by.
Oh, but still prices are going up. Come on, it's going to be like $20.
Yeah, they'll be polymer by that point, Ben.
Right.
Federal judge refuses to dismiss case against Mara Healy for assault weapons interpretation. So, federal judge basically refused to dismiss a case against the Massachusetts Attorney General relating to her interpretation of the state's assault weapons ban. She angered gun owners in 2016 when she reinterpreted the state's assault weapons ban to forbid the sale of copycat, and I just did air quotes, assault-style weapons, which had previously been illegal in the state. Basically, she asked a U.S. District Court judge to dismiss the case, and in his order, he refused to dismiss the suit and said he would let litigation continue because the gun shops raised genuine questions as to whether Healy gave them fair notice that selling certain weapons would be forbidden. I think this is good news, and I'm kind of glad to see that this will move further in the legal system.
Yeah, so for those who hadn't followed the story, basically what happened was the Massachusetts AG came out and said, the way the law is written has been interpreted wrong, and for the last 20 years, all of you have been committing felonies, but we're going to let that slide, but from here on out, you can't do it anymore. Is basically what she said. No law change, nothing. She just said, I've decided that these also are now included under the law.
Yeah, so I'm going to change what the law says arbitrarily, and I'm going to make it even harder for you.
Right.
Welcome to Democrats.
And technically, the way it was, because it was just a reinterpretation, anyone who had what they thought legally purchased one of these quote unquote, copy guns now was a retroactive felon. And they were just basically wink, wink, handshake, but we're not coming after you, though.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, this is like when this happened, people were really, really upset. A lot of the stores were like, yeah, we're going to file suit, and just ridiculous. I feel like she's trying to rule without legislation. She's not trying to be a politician. She's not trying to be a representative in our government. She's trying to be a dictator, and it has to stop. And I hope that she gets the full penalty of the law.
Or they at least throw it
She
out.
gets recalled.
It would be nice if she got recalled. Yeah, that would be great. Florida House Speaker called out by the NRA for 2A betrayal. This article comes to us from Politico, and the NRA broadsides Florida House Speaker for gun control betrayal. They accused outgoing Florida House Speaker and likely gubernatorial candidate Richard Corcoran of a betrayal on Monday for his role in passing a gun control law for the first time since Republicans won control of the Florida legislature 2 decades ago. NRA says that he is adding insult to injury by calling the betrayal of law-abiding firearms owners one of the greatest Second Amendment victories we've ever had. And this was actually written by NRA lobbyist Marion Hammer, the legislative update, actually. So I'm not a huge fan of her, but in this case, it's good that the NRA is going against the people who stood against their constituents in Florida.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of her either, but she is our lead lobbyist for the NRA down here.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to take her with a grain of salt. But yeah, this is, like I said last show, and like I've been saying all over Facebook and autoplay ad, and everywhere else, that this was Republicans who passed this gun control legislation, and Florida people, you better remember that when it comes time to vote. This was not passed by Democrats. This was passed by Republicans. Got to get them out. Got to get rid of them.
So what do you guys think? Do you think the next election cycle in Florida is going to be different? I mean, Florida historically has leaned red, right?
Except for everywhere except for everywhere else, everywhere except for the big major, cities, but everywhere else, yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, just generally from, what I've been able to vote, it's always been a red state, so.
Yeah, so I mean, look, this is how representative government goes. They get into office on one platform with promises of one thing. They go into the office. If they don't do those things, if they don't fulfill their promises, if they suddenly change direction and go against their constituents, our power is to vote them out of office, or even more so, to recall them if that is applicable in the situation. Obviously, this guy's outgoing, but don't forget he's going to be running for governor at some point. Is the speculation there? So I think that he needs to pay for the betrayal of that he has done to his constituents, plain and simple.
And apparently our governor who signed it is outgoing, and from what I understand, he's planning on running for either the U.S. House or U.S. Senate.
Wow. Well, I hope.
Well, and the media will probably come up with some stupid story, and people will forget about it. And when they go to vote, they're like, "Oh, he's a Republican. Oh, well, let's just vote for this guy." And he's just basically nothing but a rhino.
Yep. Completely agree. AmmoLand reports that the SAF has set up a toll-free hotline for students to report anti-gun bullying at schools. So basically, if students are 2A advocates or 2A supporters or 2A friendly or whatever, and they get bullied at school, the Second Amendment Foundation has set up a number for them to let them know. I think this is actually kind of a cool thing that the SAF is doing. I'm not sure what they're going to be doing, but my guess is lawsuits and the like. But Ben, what are your thoughts on this? You good with it? You think it's silly? What?
I'm actually liking it, as long as portrayed properly. I mean, when your kid gets bullied, bullying one way or another. How are you going to take care of that? It really depends. And having someone stand up for those kids maybe is the right thing to do, and helping defend them.
Yeah, I agree. Zane, any way that this could be abused? Do you think?
Yeah. Anytime I don't know. I haven't really put much thought into this one. On one hand, I like the idea of it, but on the other hand, it's like bullying happens. It's happened when I was in school. It happened when every one of us were in school. It's gonna, I think a bigger problem is how administration is handling it. So maybe this will. I don't know. I don't really know, Sean.
Ryan, do you think, or have you heard of any kids like really being bullied because they're 2A advocates? I've seen a couple things in the news, and one was like a principal was asking a Minnesota high school student to leave because he had a 2A a sign advocating 2A stuff. But have you really heard about other kids being bullied by kids, administrators, anything like that?
The three stories that popped to mind are the principal and the sign, like you just said. There was a kid who didn't want to walk in the walkout, and he just stayed in the classroom, and so he got in trouble for that. And then there was a girl who she went to the range or something and took pictures while she was at the range, and so she got in trouble for that. I think she got expelled or something.
Yeah, there was a group. We're actually going to talk about that story, but and the middle one was a kid got in trouble, but the real story behind that is anyone who did not want to participate in the walkout had to go to like a common area, and he refused. He's like, I'm going to stay in the classroom where I'm supposed to be, and basically got suspended for that. Which, you know, on the
which good on it. Which good on him though, because you know what, this is just almost. I'm trying to word this without cussing. Like no, this is total. Like that's I don't consider that bullying. I consider that just nonsense and indoctrination of children. Like schools are supposed to teach kids how to read, write, and a little bit of math. Like teach kids stuff like that and quit indoctrinate. This is why I think all schools should be private. That's a whole nother conversation.
Well, let's argue about this a little bit, because I think that Zane, I really think that in this case, look, they know the kids are going to walk out, whether the administrators or teachers support it or not. I don't know. That wasn't in the story. So they know these kids are going to walk out. They're going to put a lot of teachers and administrators outside where those kids are going to be. They can't have just kids sitting in the classrooms, you know, with access to whatever might be in their personal property, teacher property, things like that. So then they're going to put these other kids in another place where they can, you know, have one or two or three administrators or teachers watch over a big number of them as well. I think that this is a reasonable thing to ask. I mean, yeah, obviously class is disrupted. It's not necessarily the administrators and teachers' fault that class was disrupted. So they're just trying to make sure that it's a safe environment for everybody, that people can either walk out if they want or not walk out if they want. And this kid just flat out refused. I totally support him, but at the same time, I'm like, look, it's school. When they tell you to go somewhere, just go there.
No, see, the way I look at it is, when I was in school, if I just arbitrarily wanted to walk up and out of the classroom, I'd be suspended for that. So you know what?
Yeah.
Quit disrupting it. Quit having teachers and go make sure they're safe. If students want to get up and walk out of the classroom, they're supposed to be in the classroom. Deal with the disciplinary action, and with them, kick them out. I don't care. Like you're at school to learn. If you don't want to learn, don't come to school. Don't. It's like I'm just over all this nonsense. Like it's all nonsense. Is all it is.
Ryan.
Well, bullies can come in any shape or size. I mean, it doesn't matter if he's, the kid in class or if he's your teacher. The teacher can be a bully too, So, good on this kid. I support him 100%. So.
Yeah. No, I support the kid 100% too. I'm just trying to throw maybe a different viewpoint out there as well. Ben, thoughts on this?
The kid was where he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be in the classroom. That's what we pay our tax dollars for him to be in. So those kids that are leaving the classroom and the teachers that are following them, they're student. That should be school administration out there, giving them truancies, letting them do their thing. Here's your piece of paper of punishment, and then go back to doing their jobs. I understand keeping an eye on the kids and all, but there's also the students that are there wanting to learn.
All right. Very well put, gentlemen. Love it. Next story is, while some students walked out, these Marietta, California students went up, and they basically did a walk up and not out assembly. And I think this is actually kind of cool. Rather than walking out in a national school walkout, these students held a walk up, not out assembly. And this is actually kind of cool. They said it was very non-political. It's very surprising that this was in California, but they said, when asked these two questions, every kid stood. Have you ever been bullied? Have you ever had a negative statement made about you online? And this was just basically, outreach to people who were bullied, recommendation not to bully people, and just kind of bringing everyone together instead of being very, very divisive, as a lot of the other walkouts have been. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I saw a conversation that kind of, with this, pointed, those kids that would be stereotyped as future school shooter. Those guys being walked up to every day on purpose, and when they just want to be left alone. There's kind of the other side of the coin to that. Hey, I'm going to school to learn, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that view as well. You got other guys have anything to add on this one?
Yeah, we got to quit raising just pansy little kids. Like I don't know what happened. We've got to raise our kids. I don't have kids, so it's easy for me to say, I guess. But like this, it's just, if you've ever been like bullied, like we've all had people say mean things about us. Like I don't know when all of a sudden this became like no one has to ever be offended. Like, where did this culture come from? Like, it's ridiculous.
Could not agree more. So here's the thing: is I was bullied a lot. I didn't consider it bullying, but my first year of high school, I went to a high school that was predominantly very, very an urban kind of inner city type school. I had long hair. I played in bands, and I got picked on like every day. I had to fight. I had to throw punches almost every single day of like the first 3 months of the school year. And you win some, you lose some. You learn how to take a punch. You learn how to throw a punch. Not once did I ever think about walking in there and shooting the school up. Not once did I ever think about, retribution or anything like that. I dealt with it and I moved on with my life, and I enjoyed the rest of my life. And even though that part of it kind of sucked, eventually my mom went in, and when they tried to suspend me for fighting, even though I was getting picked on every day, and eventually everyone just decided it was better if I just transferred schools, because they weren't going to stop and I wasn't going to stop standing up for myself. And not once did it ever escalate. Not once did I ever go home crying. I dealt with it. No, they weren't going to stop, and that's just the way it was. Like we didn't have to have a walkout. No one was going to die, and that's just kind of the way it was. And I agree. Society's changed. It's much, much, much different these days.
It's that stupid zero tolerance policy.
That's exactly
you can't
what I was
fight back.
say.
You fight back, you're being bullied, and you fight back, you're in trouble. Why? I'm defending myself. Why am I in trouble for that? I got into several fights.
We're teaching kids that all violence is bad. That's what like, if violence is not necessarily evil, violence is not bad. Sometimes violence is righteous, and sometimes it's necessary.
Right.
I completely agree. I think sometimes, and very often, violence is the answer.
Absolutely.
Isn't that why we carry guns?
Yeah,
I mean,
without question, 100%. But I do think it's cool. Like I've seen a few videos of schools doing the walk up, not out thing, and I think that's good. I think that I'm actually even okay with the walkouts. I'm okay with all of it. Like I want kids to do things, experience things. I know a ton of these kids didn't give a crap about whatever they were protesting or trying to raise awareness for. They just didn't want to be in class. Like I get that. I remember being a kid. I totally get it. Whatever they need to do to feel like they're doing something or helping, that's fine. It's not the kids that I'm angry at. It's the adults that are like, yeah, we should let these kids guide our national policy.
Yeah.
yeah.
You're not even out of high school yet, and you're trying to tell me how to live my life. I'm over twice your age.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me how to live? No.
Yeah. I'm like, kid, I've got kids older than you.
Right.
Liber TV is set to launch on March 23rd. So for the people who don't know what Liber TV is, well, that would make all of us, I think, because this is something that's being done by James Yeager. It's being called Liber TV, Liber TV, launches at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Friday, March 23rd. I'm not sure anyone really knows what it's going to be. Anyone have any guesses?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of James Yeager's YouTube videos before they shut him down, so I can hazard a guess.
And what would that be?
If anyone hasn't watched James Yeager's, and I've never met the man in person, I've heard he's a very, very nice individual.
He really
is. He's very abrasive on the internet. And I like some of what he says. I dislike some of what he says, but it's really neither here nor there. He has a very aggressive way about getting his point across. And I have a feeling he's going to be launching his own YouTube type kind of Full 30 type thing is my guess. And we'll see. I'll check it out. I mean, or it could just be, he's going to do like a mini series and release it somewhere. Who knows?
Anyone else care to hazard a guess?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a vehicle for James Yeager to say whatever he wants without any kind of restrictions.
I'm not actually sure what it's going to be. I haven't paid too much attention to it, but I will remind the content creators out there this. YouTube has decided they no longer want our content, basically. I'm obviously oversimplifying that to a very, very large degree. However, it's this. We have a platform or a service that has complete control over our content. That is never a great idea. YouTube obviously doesn't agree with gun content. However, I'm also going to say this. Full 30, Liber TV, GunTube, all these other things, guess what? Someone's paying for that bandwidth. Someone's paying for the servers. Someone's paying for the development, the code, and whatever. And whether they're pro 2A or anti 2A, putting your content in a place where someone else has control over your livelihood or your message or your voice is probably not ever a great idea. So I would just like to, whether they align with our beliefs right now, we all need to keep that in mind, that maybe we need to figure out different ways of putting out some kind of content.
Yeah. And not only that, but I'm sorry, what'd you say, Ben?
I said ham radio.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like it, and I think everyone should have a place where they can, say what they want, because obviously I don't believe the Bill of Rights is a la carte. I think the First Amendment is just important as a second. So if he releases something like that, maybe he'll open it up to other content creators. I don't know. We'll see what it is. It's going to be interesting. I can guarantee it's going to be interesting, one way or the other.
It will be interesting. I'll definitely check it out once it launches, and we'll see where it goes from there. Good stuff. Did you guys hear that there was another school shooting in Maryland?
Well, we heard, but
yeah, I think we're the only ones. Basically, a teenager armed with a handgun shot and critically wounded a girl inside a Maryland school on Tuesday, and the shooter was killed when the school resource officer confronted him moments after the gunfire erupted. A third student was also injured as well. So, kid walks into a school with a gun, starts opening fire, less than 60 seconds from first fire to end of scenario by a good guy with a gun. Like, I hate that platitude, but exactly what it is. You had a school resource officer in place, and this coward, didn't have the courage of his convictions and was taken out. I think it's great.
Chalk one up for the good guys.
Yeah, it just goes to show what we need to do all across the country. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was taking his daughter to school or picking her up, and he's like, "There's no security in schools, none, other than a locked door."
Yeah,
so we got to have something. I mean, we protect everything else with guns. Why are we not protecting our schools?
Yeah.
Why are we leaving them open just so that any nut job can walk in? And then, of course, we have to pay the consequences, not only with kids being killed, but then they're attacking our rights. Why?
Totally, completely agree. And Ben, I'm going to go to you on this one. Why do you think this isn't as popular on the news as everything else?
Because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Yeah, I think I definitely think that's the case. It's concerning at the very least. So I tried to think about things from different angles, and I look at this one and I'm like, well, is it because, a kid walked into a school with a gun, shot other students, and then was stopped by a resource officer? Like, is it different from Florida in some way? And I'm like, yes, it's different in that the school resource officer did not enter the school. The kid was not stopped. He eventually left. But I was like, was the original situation different? Was this like the unrequited love type thing? But everything seems to indicate that this kid went in to just shoot the place up. And it's maddening to me that I'm not seeing this all over the news.
What's different is it's not a mass shooting.
Yeah,
it's under 4.
4 people didn't die. So you know what? That is not a mass shooting. And that's what happens when you have someone trained and capable of ending violence immediately. It doesn't turn into a mass shooting. So we're not going to see it.
Yeah.
But yet at, what was it, mid-February, there were already supposedly like 18 different school shootings, but yet this doesn't qualify? Or whatever the number was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely. It doesn't qualify because people did the things that we suggest people do to stop these things from happening. And yeah, of course, it'll just become something very small that goes away very quick. So hearts go out to the families affected by this. And congrats to that school resource officer for doing his damn job.
Yeah, go team moment.
Yep. Gun Owners of America warns us that fixed nicks will kill reciprocity and to take action today. This is an article in AmmoLand, posted by AmmoLand. And, it's basically, here's the deal. This fixed nicks thing, I'm actually going to read it just so I don't mess up the details. But GOA says that a vote to pass fixed nicks is a vote to kill concealed carry reciprocity. Last year, the House of Representatives passed the GOA-backed House Resolution 1181, which would create due process protections for veterans. But if the fixed nicks take the guns first language is slammed through on the omnibus, there's no chance that HR 1181 will see the president's desk. And similarly, when the House passed fixed nicks late last year, it coupled in a combo bill, which also contained concealed carry reciprocity, their highest and proactive legislative priority. But if this anti-gun provision is slammed through, reciprocity will be dead for the year. So they want you to take action, call your representatives. They've actually got it out there. You can go to Gun Owners of America, check that out, and take action. The tough one. This is why I hate adding a bunch of bills and stuff onto everything. I wish we could just pass one thing with one thing and not have to worry about passing one thing with 10 attachments that kind of deplete the usefulness of the entire bill.
Yeah. That's kind of a shame that's what happens. Like, because you never even know what you're voting for. And then they use that against everybody later on. Like, well, back in 2018, so-and-so voted for, when it was like some little bitty add-in, like when Obama basically signed the bill that allowed concealed carry in national parks. He didn't sign a bill that had anything to do with that. That's something that they just shoved in at the very last minute. So, like, I don't know. You never know what you don't even know. They don't even know what they're voting for at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree. Anyone else, anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I was listening to somebody the other day, and they said anytime a bill is up for being passed, that the only way that they can really get it passed is if they do a compromise. And so that's why you always see that extra bill being added on, that extra crap that has absolutely nothing to do with the original bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next story, guys. YouTube cracks down on gun content. Mentioned this briefly before, but here's the meat and potatoes of the entire thing. So historically, YouTube basically disallowed things that were illegal, but now they are introducing, and I believe this goes into effect in April of 2018, but policies on content featuring firearms, and say that they prohibit certain kinds of content featuring firearms. The specific things that they don't allow is anything that intends to sell firearms or certain firearms accessories through direct sales or links to sites that sell these items. These accessories include, but may not be limited to, accessories that enable a firearm to simulate automatic fire or convert a firearm to automatic fire, and high-capacity magazines. Anything, magazines or belts carrying more than 30 rounds. Anything that provides instruction on manufacturing a firearm, ammunition, high-capacity magazine, homemade silencer suppressors, or certain firearms accessories such as those listed above. Also includes instructions on how to convert a firearm and shows users how to install the above mentioned accessories or modifications. So this all, it seems like, okay, so no videos on how to install bump fire stocks or full auto sears or anything like that. But the problem that I have with this is that it says these accessories include, but may not be limited to, and right there, they basically open it up to everything. And as I think we've seen historically, YouTube doesn't care about gun content. They don't care about the Second Amendment supporters. This is, in my opinion, a way to get gun content off of their platform. I'm going to start with you, Ryan. What are your thoughts here?
One hand of it, I just wish YouTube would just come out and just say, you know what, this is the way it is, which is what they've kind of done now. But, this has kind of been leading up for the last 6 months, and it's their site. I mean, they can do that if they want to. I don't agree with it. I do think it's an infringement of our rights, especially because they take government money. If they take our money, we have a voice. We have a dog in that fight. So at the same time, too, everybody should get off YouTube. Everybody. I mean, if you're anything to do with guns, you should close all your YouTube accounts and you should just move off and get something else. Whether it be 430, whether it be Liver TV, whether you create your own site, let's show them, you wouldn't go into a place of business that has no concealed carry or no open carry signs. Well, YouTube just put up that sign. So why aren't we still on YouTube?
Yeah. Ben, thoughts on this?
It's interesting because depending upon how far, because it's not limited to, like the Off-Road Podcast, we have a YouTube channel. It's videos of us doing stuff in our off-road vehicles. Yeah, I have a picture of a gun on the side of the Firearms Radio Network logo on the side of the stink bug. So is that gun video going to be deleted because it has a picture of a firearm in the future? I don't know. It's a slow trickle into deep pools of bad.
Yeah, I agree. Zane?
Well, so my whole thought is, like, the first time I took, went to install a new trigger in a Glock, or went to, build my first lower, my first AR lower, I went to YouTube to learn how to do it. And so that's going away. So the next time I review for, say, Gun and Gear Review, next time I review a trigger and I open up, I break down the upper and the lower, and I show this is where the sear installs or whatever. Well, that's not that can't be there anymore, because you could install a binary trigger just as easily. It's the same thing. So I just, I kind of agree that we gotta go get off YouTube, but where are we gonna go for everything that's not gun related? Like,
yeah,
it's I agree with you 100%, but it's like, where do we go now? There are some interesting proposals that have been made in the community.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that's going to work either.
Well, to me, I'm like, okay, so say that Pornhub does allow this, and we'll call it PH from here on out, because this is not We Like Shooting. Say that PH does allow this content, and they're not going to say anything about it, and they're like, yeah, come on, bring it. And so we all start going there. But here's
they have an app, at least.
Yeah, they Ben?
Yeah, they do.
So my point is this, is that what we're doing is not illegal. Like, we are not posting illegal content. We are not suggesting that people break the law. In fact, all of us on the Firearms Radio Network, we're the most law-abiding people that I know. Like, we go out of our way to make sure that we're not doing things wrong, to make sure that we're doing things correctly and not breaking any laws. We're not like Karen Mallard for Congress, creating an illegal SPR in a video and posting it everywhere ever. We are the most law-abiding people that there are. So when we take our law-abiding content, the content that we provide instruction, education, and just basically talking about cool stuff for cool people, when we take that and put it onto something that's as fringe as pornography, and look, I'm fine with pornography. I think it's great. It's basically driven a lot of the technological advancements in our country. But when we take something that's legal and marginalize it and put it in a fringe place, I think that we're basically implying that our content is fringe and thus should belong there. Like, I'm not going to put our content on Pornhub. I did as a joke today, but it's not going to be something that I do, because I feel like our content should be, live, loud, and out front for all of us.
Well, to be fair, what all the stuff on PH is perfectly legal too.
It is. But I would say that it is.
I would say most of it.
Yeah. I would say that it's fringe. And again, I'm 100% okay with it. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's out there. I don't know it apparently as well as Ben does, but
here's the problem though. The problem is people, YouTube and the anti-gunners and the people who hate us, that's how they view gun content. They're like, yeah, sure, it may be legal, but it's so terrible that you would do these things. And so I kind of think that the original thought behind doing that, I think it was a joke on everybody's part, although I think InRange is going to continue doing it. But I think it was kind of to make that statement. I think that was the statement that was trying to be made. And maybe I completely misunderstood, and maybe it was just supposed to be funny. But that's kind of how I looked at it. Like, yeah, what we're doing is totally legal, whether you like it or not. What we're doing is legal. We're not breaking any laws, and you can hate it, you can despise it, but we should have the right to do it.
No, that's actually a really valid point.
I was talking to my wife earlier today, and I was like, this is the new battle for the First Amendment. Being able to view content online, it should be equal everywhere, right?
Yeah, I completely agree.
And if you're a publicly traded company, it goes with that, kind of like baking cakes.
I mean, yeah, I do agree. Although, First Amendment obviously protects our natural born right to free speech, and it prevents the government from infringing upon the rights of its citizens. But, for a company, and someone did say government, I'm not aware that the government funds YouTube in any way. So as far as I know, even though they are publicly traded, it is a private platform owned by a corporation with a board of directors and people like that. And really, they don't need to provide us anywhere or anything to do. To post our content.
Well, not technically. If they're publicly traded, then they're owned by people. I mean, they're not owned by YouTube. They're not owned by Google. They're owned by who owns Google. So
yeah, no, that is true. Again,
I agree with what you're saying, Sean. But the problem is when the tides are turned, it's the other way around. I agree with you. I think private business should have the right to do whatever they want.
I agree.
If you want to put a sign up and say no, fill in the blank, whatever allowed, you should be perfectly allowed to do that. And the people's wallets will decide whether that's okay or not. Unfortunately, when it's the other way around, when it's, we don't want to bake your cake, or we don't want to, and I hate the bake a cake analogy, but it
fits.
But it fits.
Take a picture.
When it's that, whatever it is, when it's that, all of a sudden it's, well, you're infringing on my rights. So you can't have it both ways. Either you think
exactly
our rights should be protected from government only, or you think our rights are natural and private businesses should have to abide by them also. And I think that's where, and quite honestly, there's hypocrisy on both sides of the aisle on it. And I'm getting tired of it. The tree of liberty needs refreshed.
There you go.
And that's all I'll say about that.
All right, that's fair, man. The first casualty that we've seen so far, Spike's Tactical, basically their channel was pulled down. They got a bunch of strikes. My assessment of this is very likely what it was for everything else. There's a horde of people out there that go through these and constantly submit reports and things like that, and their channel probably got taken down automatically as a result of all the reports against them. And yeah, so I'm not sure it's anything any more devious than that. It's likely that they'll be back, but as of this recording, Spike's Tactical's YouTube channel is still down.
Well, and everyone's scrambling right now to figure out a place to store their content, because a lot of people store their content on YouTube. Like, and if it goes away, it's gone. Like, everything they've done would be gone. So
Google Drive.
Everyone's yeah. Well, and that's where it's going to come to, or something, because everyone's scrambling right now to store all their content elsewhere.
Yeah, and one great thing about Google is that they make it very easy to do that. I actually transferred all of my YouTube data, including every video we've ever put up for We Like Shooting, to my Google Drive today. It was like, I don't know, 100 gigs or something like that. But,
right.
Yeah. I would highly suggest to have a USB backup drive or some sort of hard drive, because, you know, Google, a month or two ago, they got some engineer came out and said that they were basically shadow banning, Google and Twitter were shadow banning people. So, you know, you may log in one day and all of a sudden your account's dead, and there goes all your 100 gigabytes of video.
Yeah, that would be annoying since I've got about 10 terabytes up there.
Well, see.
Yep.
And I got some fire memes saved on there.
Ah, that would be a huge loss. A huge loss. New Jersey Gun Club threatens lawsuit over Lacey Township students' gun range photos. So in New Jersey, 2 students basically went to the range, and completely legal, just a fun day at the range, posted pictures of themselves shooting guns on Facebook. And the school's zero tolerance policy said that the students cannot be in possession of weapons at any time, whether on or off campus. Are you kidding me right now? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So did
Tony take the picture?
Say again?
I said, did Tony Simon take the picture?
Probably.
Me and Tony talked about this last night after we got off air on Gun and Gear Review.
Biggest overreach I've ever heard. Zane, go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is what I was talking about earlier. The job of the school is to teach kids how to read and write, and preferably history, but apparently that's not being taught. Like you don't get to indoctrinate children. You don't get to rule their lives. They're not like since when is the government the parents? This all comes back to how we're raising our kids. Like, the government is trying to be our kids' parents, and it's time for parents to step up and be our kids' parents. Like and take it away from the schools. Again, this is massive overreach. And again, I'll let Ben go into the zero tolerance policy, because I have a feeling we agree on that. But this is it's another one of those. Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, that's just bad. But I think that was the other guy who had that.
Oh,
just ridiculous. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. I mean, you know, it's one thing if the kids were out there, and I haven't seen the pictures or anything. I'm just aware of the issue. It's one thing if the kids were out there by themselves. Yeah, well, technically, they could potentially be in violation of federal law, even if they have a gun by themselves. But if the parents are out there, if the parents are out there, then what business does it? You know, the school has no business in it.
No,
none. I mean, oh my God, he chewed a pop-tart in the shape of a gun. Who cares?
Yeah, this school, the second these kids leave that school, as long as they're not bullying someone or doing something that could be damaging to someone's life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness.
Threatening remarks.
Yeah, like nothing these kids do outside school, like whether they shop at Walmart or Target, it's none of the school's business any way, shape, or form. And for them to even have that in their handbook, I hope the school gets sued, and I hope the board has to end up closing and they have to send all their students to different schools in a different district. And I hope that whoever put this into place and thought that this was a good idea to move forward lives the rest of their life in Tibet or something in poverty.
But see, this isn't any different than politics, because people aren't getting involved. You're sending your kids off and you're letting somebody else raise your kids, and they're raising them however they see fit. And, oh, no, you shouldn't have done that. Well, why weren't you involved? You know, I understand.
When was the last time you went to Yeah, when was the last time you went to vote for the school board? Like those you vote for superintendents and stuff. At least down here we do, and it's usually not
why
held
aren't you
in
trying
November.
to get on the school board?
Something, yeah. This is just outrageous. I can't wait to see the result of the legal action that's already been filed. And the group that filed that is, or that has sent the letter at least, is the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs. So we'll keep following up on that as new information comes to light. Let's go ahead and move into the I'm offended segment. The first one here is I don't know. I'm not that annoyed by it, but Democrats suggest that the Second Amendment to keep Trump from overstepping his authority. And my first response to this is like, yeah, duh.
Now welcome you get it. You finally understand.
Welcome to what we've been saying.
Yeah, like, okay, dude, thanks for finally getting it. That's awesome. But New York Democratic congressman is being accused of promoting violence. And this is some hypocrisy, in my opinion. So a lot of Republicans are saying that he was advocating violence or whatever. But what he specifically said is, I mean, this is where the Second Amendment comes in, quite frankly, because, what if the president was to ignore the courts? What would you do? What would we do? This is Representative Tom Suozzi, Democrat, New York. And he said this March 12th during a Q&A session with constituents on Long Island. He said, it's really a matter of putting public pressure on the president. Yes, finally, he gets it. But the worst part is, I don't even think he gets it. I think he was trying to be abrasive. I think he was trying to be just kind of over the top. But really, this is why the Second Amendment exists. This is literally what it's for. I'm glad that he understands, because now we can be on the same page.
I just think it's kind of interesting that he wants to go to guns because the president won't take away the guns.
Yes. I guarantee in his next breath he talked about gun control.
What is the intent here?
No.
Yeah, when does the Second American Revolution start?
Well, we'll see.
Do I need to send my sign up now or buy tickets now, or
watch out, they'll throw Tide Pods at you.
Right.
Look, man, as someone who has licked a Tide Pod, these are no joke. These are pretty awful things. But I just for the Republicans that are getting mad at him for saying this, like, just stop. Like, this is literally why the Second Amendment exists, is to stop, tyranny.
Well, it's probably the same Republicans who are like all outraged by this that were the same ones who are defending Trump when he made that statement about Hillary, when he said something about, well, you got your Second Amendment, so I don't know. Or he said something to that effect. And it was obviously joking. It was in poor taste, but everyone was defending him like, no, that's what the Second Amendment's about. And then this same people are upset about this guy. It's like, come on, be consistent. Everybody.
Yeah.
I hold everybody's feet to the fire.
Exactly. After he referenced the Second Amendment, a constituent asked him to explain it. He said the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. That's why we have it. So, yeah, Republicans that are accusing him of promoting violence, just shut up.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally, like, I think I promote violence on a daily basis. I just don't, do it in big crowds.
Yeah. Next story, our good buddy David H. Said, what if our politicians weren't the BITCH of the NRA? I'm like, I don't even know what I'm allowed to say on the show.
I don't know if that one's a bleepable one or not.
Is that timestampable?
I don't think so. I can spell it, but I didn't say it. But David Hogg's basically, his latest gun control PSA opens with him looking directly at the camera and asking, what if our politicians weren't the B of the NRA? And wow.
Well, what if they weren't that of big pharma or big tobacco or any that we have lobbyists, like
lobbying
pick a lobbying group.
Yeah.
Like what if we
what if David Hogg wasn't the beep of that gun control?
Right. Right, exactly.
He is what he's protesting against. I mean, just I don't know if you guys saw, but Steven Crowder, one of his staff writers, wrote an article that basically called David Hogg a little toe rag and said, we've been really cautious talking poorly about him, but he put himself into the public eye and doesn't deserve anything less than anyone else would get from us on this, and basically told him to shut up and whatnot. And I definitely agree. Like, sorry that he went through what he went through, but don't really care a lick about anything else that he ever says.
I mean, I know lots of people who've been through lots of stuff. Like you said, sorry what happened to you, kid, but that doesn't mean you get to be like a retard on television. So.
Yeah. they're just a disaster. Just a joke, in my opinion. Anyone else have anything to add here? Who is it? Let's see. What was her name? Laura Ingram watched his video and said, what if our said, perhaps if one stayed in school, one would know how to use the plural because it would obviously be ES.
Nice.
That's good. That's
Laura Ingram.
Your 15 minutes is up.
15 minutes is over. Sorry. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So let's move into the full auto news segment. Why don't you guys go ahead and pick a story while I move into my story. So Costco basically started selling the $6,000 Doomsday Meal Kit. It's enough food for a family of 4 for an entire year and costs $6,000. And that offers roughly 2,000 calories a day per person and a shelf life up to 25 years. I think this is awesome. This is almost like worth just going out and buying and then just eating nothing but that for like 4 years. Just
Costco preppers.
Yeah. Just so you don't have to freaking decide what to eat every night. Yes. I constantly ask my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, what should we have? What should we have for lunch? She's like, I don't know. What do you want? I'm like, I don't know. Cheeseburger. No, I don't want that. Italian. No, I don't want that. Salad. No, I don't want that. This would just save us so much time because we would only have so much things. So I think it's amazing.
I agree. Hey, Costco saw a void in the market with the preppers and was like, hey, watch this. And good on them.
I totally agree. I think this is absolutely amazing. Anyone else have any stories out of the full auto news segment that they would like to talk about?
Oh,
Yeah,
I've got one.
I think we got to talk about Denver City Council
Okay.
and their bump stocks.
I totally agree. Ben, you go first.
So the Denver City Council was shocked that no one turned in their bump stocks. Surprise, surprise.
They're so shocked.
Come and take them.
Yeah, 70 miles north of me where I'm sitting right this second. And so Denver is basically ridiculous. I get pulled over in Colorado Springs, tell the officer I have a gun in the car. He's like, yeah, don't point yours at me. I'm not going to point mine at you. I get pulled over in Denver not too long ago. This cop like loses his mind on me. He made me get out of the car. It was 20 degrees. I didn't have a jacket on. Just yelling and over the intercom, no less. Just ridiculous because I had a legally owned firearm in my car. I was breaking no laws except for this one. And yeah, just a complete and absolute jerk.
I'll tell you what, though. I do have a little bit of a problem with this. And it kind of goes to my theory that gun owners are content. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to turn their bump stocks in. But they also don't want to get off their butts and make phone calls and send emails and go to the state capitol and go to the voting booth. Like this should have never been passed. Now, I don't know if this was voted on or if this was just passed arbitrarily. I don't know how it works up there.
City council vote 11-1.
So a city council vote. So we just banned bump stocks down here in Florida, and Republicans banned them again. And it was like everyone's like, well, I'm not turning mine in. And it's like, well, did you send an email to anybody? Like, did you make a phone call? Well, no, but okay then. So sure, you're not going to turn. Like, I don't know. It's irritating. It's going to be a felony, by the way, in Florida to not turn it in. But
wow.
Oh well.
Yeah, well, when they go door to door and do complete house sweeps, then I guess they'll find a bunch of them.
Won't
Well,
ever
I'm
happen.
curious to know what Colorado's laws are because, some have the preemption laws or whatever, where, it has to be done on a state level versus the city council level.
Yeah, so basically Denver County is a little bit weird. There's no open carry in Denver County, but we have open carry all throughout Colorado, but because they do just allow it in Denver County. So we can conceal carry with a permit in Denver County, but we cannot open carry under any circumstances in Denver County. Denver's just a weird place. Like we did in 2013 have our anything over 15 round in magazines disallowed. But now in Denver, when they put this bump stock ban into place, they also they took away the grandfather clause. So if you owned a magazine before 2013, which of course I owned 20 of every gun that I had and every gun that I ever was thinking about buying.
Right.
If you did not own them before 2013, they were grandfathered. In Denver, in the same bump stock ban bill, they took that away. So they were no longer grandfathered, and you had to turn them in.
Yeah, see, down here in Florida, we have a preemption statute that basically counties and cities can't pass gun laws. This has to be on a state level. It's not stopping Broward County from trying to do an assault weapons ban right now, but
man,
there's that.
Ridiculous. Anyone else have any stories from Full Auto?
I'm just surprised that the Incredible Hulk as a Texas police officer.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm wondering who needed the publicity the most. Did Lou Ferrigno need it, or did the Irving Police Department need it?
Well, it's great. I mean, he was great in Conan. I'm just surprised that they.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah,
everyone's swearing in people. What Steven Seagal was a Louisiana.
Yeah, he was a Louisiana parish.
Like
yeah.
Gotcha. I find that funny, and I'm waiting for the TV show now in Irving, Texas.
You nailed it. That's what it is right there.
Cop smash.
Yeah, he's like, drop the gun. They're like, I did, but he doesn't hear him, so he shoots him anyway.
But no slight against Lou Ferrigno or anything. But doesn't he? Is he like legally blind or something, or has some seeing problems?
Legally deaf, I believe.
Is it deaf?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
not trying to slide him or anything, but
no, he was great in Total Recall. All right.
Anyone who doesn't watch We Like Shooting has no idea what you're talking about.
Doesn't matter.
It's still funny.
All right. And then I guess, we'll just wrap it up with one last story. Parkland activists believe they're being threatened by NRA members. And yeah, I mean, you're out there in the public eye. You're saying inflammatory things. You're saying NRA members are awful, terrible people. And yes, obviously people are not going to put up with that, especially
Nearly
from
500,000 people are preparing to march.
Especially from, people who can't figure out bathrooms and eat Tide Pods. So,
well, and we're not threatening anybody. Like,
I'm sure
the violence,
death threats. I'm sure they've gotten death threats.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I see more of that come from who's getting death threats is Dana Lausch and
exactly
Collier Noir and these guys. Whatever.
Right.
If we were the problem, you would know it by now.
Yeah. Have y'all seen some of the threats that CJ Grisham's been getting?
Yeah.
The open carry Texas. I mean, he gets some serious ones in the mail.
Yeah, no, they all do. And in Texas, you really got to worry about what kind of mail you get these days. Well, not after.
Well, not anymore.
But
yeah.
I'm sorry they're getting death threats, but public eye. I have gotten so many death threats on the We Like Shooting Facebook page. Mostly it's because our videos are awful, but a lot of times it's just people anti-gun. They come and threaten my life, and I LOL and make sure that I'm carrying at all times.
And you wonder
I
why
almost got a death threat. I pretty much got a death threat just for saying mean things about a Ruger gun, and I wouldn't even I wouldn't even think I was stepping out there on the ledge.
What'd you say, Ryan?
Oh, I don't remember. Go ahead.
So yeah, I'm sure they're getting death threats. Welcome to the real world, kiddos. When you say stuff that people don't like, people freak out and they say awful things.
I said I want no wonder, or you wonder why I don't carry a gun. It's because you're threatening my life. That's why I carry a gun.
Yeah, 100%.
There's your sign.
Hey, if anyone's getting death threats down in this area, give me a call, and I'll give you a concealed weapons class.
Well, I did see that David Hogg's mother mentioned that they had gotten a lot of death threats, and that her husband, a former FBI agent, carries his gun every single day.
Right. That seemed a little inflammatory just to even say it. Let's just skip right over the hypocrisy of it, but just to even say that out loud is kind of inflammatory.
Yeah, I feel like she was threatening me. All right, guys, I think that will do it for the evening. Just real quick, I want to catch up with you guys and see what you're doing. Zane, where can people find you online, and what have you guys talked about on the podcast recently?
Well, we did yesterday, though it'll drop Thursday, but we talked about a couple different new scopes that were out. One of them, Chad did a review on, a Vortex, and I can't remember what the other one was. It was just yesterday. I think I'd remember. And we talked about some sweet High Point magazines if you're into High Points, because our good friend Tony Simon has some weird love affair with High Points. But yeah, you can find us right here on the Firearms Radio Network at or at firearmsinsider.tv. You can find me on Facebook, Contextual Defense and Consulting. And I'm pretty active in the This Week in Guns Facebook group. So if you're not a member of that, you should definitely ask to join, and I'll approve you.
Perfect, man.
Not if I do first.
Ben, where can people find you guys online, and what have you most recently recorded about?
So I just recorded the other night with an Aussie guy, which was a big 2A guy at that. It was pretty cool. We talked everything off-roading in Australia, at least that I could think of at the time. And then we talked some guns. It was a pretty fun show. That should be out next week, next
Very
Tuesday.
Cool. And where can now you talked to an Aussie guy? Is that what you said?
Yeah, an Australian.
Oh,
Rocky mate.
I thought you meant like this kind. Just kidding. People hate it when I play music clips on the show. Oh, I get so much hate mail. It's amazing.
I'm surprised YouTube hasn't taken me down for it.
Right? Especially as many times as I play Africa by Toto. And Ben, they can find you also firearmsradio.tv, correct?
Yep, and everything off-road podcast except for Twitter, because I don't put up with that crap.
I love it. And Ryan, how about you, man? Been up to anything cool lately?
Not really. Just I'm still thinking about or trying to get my FFL. Got a pretty big hurdle. Got to get over on that. But otherwise, just staying at work, getting stuff done, trying to pay bills.
All right, man. I love it. Thank you guys all for being here. I totally appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the Patriot Patch Company. That's patriotpatch.co, and buy stuff from Manticore Arms. Coupon code is TWG10, and that is manticorearms.com. And guys, I would be remiss if I didn't thank our producer, Kenny Ortega, for making the show happen every single week. This is a production of the Firearms Radio Network.